During the summer months, the possibility of intense heavy rain and damaging storms increases. Although flooding can occur during any month, July through September is flash flood season. Be prepared.
Flash floods can happen in the desert, and when they do, they happen fast. Be prepared.
Hi, I'm Betty Hollister, Public Information Manager for the Regional Flood Control District, and welcome to another edition of the Flood Channel, this show from Mount Charleston. Just like the Boy and Girl Scouts, we believe that being prepared is the best plan to protect you and your family from the potential dangers of flash flooding. It's important to be prepared not only for today, but for tomorrow as well, which is why we continue to design, build, and construct flood control projects to protect you now and in the future. Coming up on today's show, we'll take a look at our annual Flood Safety News Conference, which helps residents get ready for flash flood season. Then we'll take a visit to one of more than 20 construction projects built to keep floodwater away from your home during intense rains. After that, we'll see how the district is prepared when potentially dangerous storms occur with our partnership with the National Weather Service and the local media. All that and our Flood 101 segment coming up on this Being Prepared edition of the Flood Channel.
People underestimate the power of floodwaters. Swiftly moving water can sweep even an SUV off the road. If you are caught in a flash flood, turn around, don't drown, be prepared.
Clogged storm drains can cause flooding, so report them to the Flood District by calling 685-0000. Be prepared.
Welcome back to the Flood Channel. The desert we live in is an environment of extremes. During the hot summer months, moist, unstable air from the Gulf of Mexico is rapidly forced upward by hot air currents. This can cause spectacular displays of lightning, but also intense heavy rain. So what does that mean for you and your family? And how can you be prepared if faced with a flash flood emergency? The district recently held its annual news conference kicking off flash flood season to remind residents how rain in the desert can be so unpredictable and why it's important to be prepared.
Thank you all for coming today. Welcome to our annual news conference at the start of the flash flood season. July through September, that'll be July, August, and September, is flash flood season in southern Nevada. It's weather conditions that are unpredictable. They create sudden, intense thunderstorms. They can drop a large amount of water in a short period of time. Last year we had 2 storms come through the valley that each dropped 3 inches in 90 minutes. Since last year when we saw you, we have completed 11 new regional flood control district projects with our partners, the cities and the county. That's an investment of $50 million into southern Nevada to manage those floods that can impact this area. The site we are on now, the Lower Las Vegas Wash Detention Basin, is one of those 76 completed detention basins. It was completed in 1999, and it was completed and built to support the vision of North Las Vegas that one day it could support a recreational features. That's what you see today, is that the vision is a reality, and now this vast area of public property not only can control the floods, but also support recreation.
The public outreach aspect of the flood control district is very important. We warn people of the flooding dangers in the valley during flash flood season and other times of the year. It's part of keeping people away from floods, which is another aspect of what we do. The first part is keeping the floods away from people by building the flood control facilities such as the one that we're in right now.
It's amazing to me that we've been doing this press conference for a decade and we still have to do it every year. But then again, you know, there's thousands and thousands of new people every year who just don't understand. They come from someplace else where it rains and the ground absorbs water. Here it rains and it all has to go somewhere. And so people just need to understand it's not like where you came from. So we have to tell them that every year.
technology in construction and modeling of facilities and the technology for modeling the rainstorms and predicting what kind of runoff we'll actually have increases all the time. The facilities themselves are pretty straightforward and have been for years, but we get better at predicting what exactly the storms are going to be and how to handle them. And the construction techniques get better, allows facilities to be built cheaper and save the public money to build more facilities. We oversee the design of all the facilities because we are responsible for funding the maintenance of them all. So we make sure that they're built in conformance with our standards to have minimum protection for the safety of the public, and that they're cost effective, and that our maintenance money is well spent so that we are sure that for the long-term operation and maintenance of the facilities.
A decade ago, and not even that long, 95, 96, 97, it was still pretty common to see parking lots at developed buildings have cars underwater. You just don't see that anymore. And there's a lot of new people who could never imagine those kind of floods in Las Vegas, and they never will imagine them because the Flood Control District has done such an effective job.
When kids go out and they see water, and they don't ever see it around here very often, but when they see it, it's attractive to them. Well, it flows fast and it flows swiftly and it can carry them away. And so they need to be very careful around flowing water, especially where the banks aren't protected in any way. Those banks could give way without any notice. So not only that, the water in an urban setting is not all that clean, so it's not that healthy. So it's good for the kids to remember to stay safe around floodwaters.
It doesn't rain that much in the desert, and when it does rain, it seems like it becomes a novelty, and people tend to venture into harm's way. We want to educate those people to keep out of harm's way.
Stay out of the water. Stay away from the water. You know, it may be fun to watch, but just stay away. It's not worth it.
Well, typically summer is when we get our massive thunderstorms across the area. We get some heating over the mountains and some lift, and it's a great opportunity to provide thunderstorms, and that provides flash flooding. The Weather Service uses different types of watches, and if we're talking about flash flooding, it could be any type of watch, severe thunderstorm, tornado. It means that conditions are favorable. We study the environment, we study the cues outside, we study the models, and we look to see if we expect the conditions to occur. Then we would issue a watch. When a watch is issued, that means you should be making your preparations for getting ready for the event. So in this case, if it's flash flooding, you need to make sure you're in high ground, or you know where to go high ground. You know what to do to help your friends and family if they need help. If conditions are happening and we're expecting flash flooding conditions, that's when we would issue a flash flood warning. And that's when you should already be doing your plan. Your plan should have been in place, and you should be taking action on it then. It's so very important. My job is to forecast the weather, but also, more importantly, we need to communicate that information. And we do that by working with the local TV stations and these press conferences to get the word out that flash flooding is very dangerous.
Well, we have, from our 20 years here, we have major video of the library of showing past floods, showing homes being destroyed, loss of life happening, swift water rescues happening. And that's why we're out here producing public service announcements, showing it on the TV, producing our TV show, because the only way to really educate those people is show what has happened in the past, because what happened in the past will happen again in the future.
For the most part, it's been my experience that when it comes to floods in the urban areas, it's usually victims standing on top of the roof of their car or in the bed of their truck, with the vehicle slightly moving downstream with the waters, and we'll come in, find a good place to conduct the rescue. A crew chief will lower down a rescuer on a line, and on the way down be giving instructions to the victim. The biggest thing we encounter is people panic. As soon as you get within reaching distance, they try to grab or reach or jump for you. So one thing we have to do is control the victims right away. So stay calm. We will get you. We're not going to leave you. We know who you are. We know you're here, and we're not going away. Just let us do our job. So we'll get down. Once we've made those instructions clear, we'll get a little closer, and we'll connect them to us through a harness. And some real quick instructions that can be done in about 3 seconds. We hook them up and then lift back up. One mistake, the crew of 4 or 5 goes down, as well as the possible victims being harmed. should we get caught up in a wire. There are protocols again. Should the rescuer get entangled or not just wires, but something that he can't get out of, rather than lose a crew, the crew chief has the responsibility of cutting that line, and that's just the way it goes. So you have to know that going into it. If something starts to happen on your end, you're going to be cut loose. I'm going to give this a rough estimate, but 85 to 90% of the people we go rescue in floods, in swift water, and other rescues we do as well, 85 to 90% are their error. They could have avoided the situation they got themselves into. And yes, does it bother me? Absolutely, that I risk my life and my crew's life to go out and save someone who made a stupid mistake. It bothers me. Will it change the way I do business? No, not at all.
You know, us shouting by ourselves, probably nobody would hear, but us shouting with all our media partners across all the stations is very rewarding, that they're here to help us help protect life and property and take a sincere interest in this community.
Every news media outlet attended the news conference and helped spread the message of being prepared for flash flood season. We'll be back with more right after this.
I want to show you some pictures your parents probably wouldn't want you to see. Pictures of parents making big mistakes. Here's someone's dad doing something foolish. He's actually trying to drive through a flooded street. Here's another. And another. Every summer we get flash floods, and every summer the same thing happens. And hey, if all this water can do this to a car, imagine what it'd do to a kid. Look, don't be foolish. Flash floods kill. Tell your parents.
A reminder from the Clark County Regional Flood Control District.
Hi, I'm Jeff Abendschein from Troop 903, and you're watching the Flood Channel.
Hi, hon. How was your day?
I was good. Nothing special. How about you?
Good. Productive?
Good, good.
Oh, I bought us flood insurance today.
You did what? What do you think we're made of money? I mean, what the heck? Should I just go out and buy a boat and maybe an SUV to pull it around? Oh, okay.
In Clark County, floods can strike at any time, and not just in flood zones. Flooding can cost thousands of dollars in damage, destroying your home and its contents. Do you have flood insurance?
Don't press your luck. Steer clear of floodwater.
How can I be prepared and avoid being a victim of a flash flood?
If there's a watch or a warning, stay inside out of the rain and remind your parents never to drive through floodwater. Welcome back to the Flood Channel. We've got some help from the Boy and Girl Scouts on this show to help drive home the message of being prepared. We know that through careful planning, design, and construction of detention basins, channels, and storm drains, we are minimizing flooding in southern Nevada. Carrie Ann takes us to an $18 million project that's underway right now in North Las Vegas.
Like a good scout, I'm very prepared for my assignment. Currently, the district has completed 76 detention basins and more than 470 miles of channel and underground storm drain, like this one here at Lone Mountain. These facilities, once complete, help safely pass dangerous floodwater away from homes and businesses to help protect the community.
This is the Gowan Outfall Channel, Lone Mountain Branch. We have about 8,500 feet of concrete boxes to lay and a couple thousand feet of storm drain pipe. Several drop inlets and rehab of the streets, repavement, and all the little things that go along with building one of these jobs.
Well, our master plan is a network of flood control facilities, detention basins, open channels, and storm drains. And they all connect and all pass those flood flows through urban areas in a non-damaging manner, ultimately getting to Lake Mead in this case.
It starts with us removing the asphalt, digging an excavation. The excavation is approximately 24 feet wide, anywhere from 16 to 20 feet deep. Typically we lay about 15 of these sections a day, which is about 105 feet. These ones that are behind me are 16 by 8s. They weigh 50,000 pounds apiece. They are 7 feet in length, and a tractor trailer that drives down the highway will haul one of them at a time.
Just this past summer, 2 storms in August dropped more than 3 inches of rain in 90 minutes with no damage, versus a similar storm in 2003 that left many homes flooded in the northwest part of the valley. This shows how the district is making a difference by being prepared.
To date, we've built 76 detention basins and 470 miles of channel and underground storm drain. We're about halfway there, another 30 years to go. It's projects like this and these types of communities that we're protecting the people from the dangers of flash flooding. This will collect flows on Low Mountain and Decatur and take about 1,600 cubic feet per second off the streets and out of the neighborhoods and put it underground and take it to a safe point of discharge. Now, to describe 1,600 cubic feet per second, that's a basketball in a box is a cubic foot. So there's 1,600 of those going by you in 1 second. So that's how much water is going to be passed underneath the street.
This project starts at Farrell and Red Coach. The project comes up 1,400 feet on Farrell Street and then turns on Lone Mountain. It goes approximately another 7,000 feet from Farrell to Decatur Boulevard. The project was awarded to us in January, and we are about 65% complete. We started laying boxes in March, and we anticipate finishing up sometime at the end of August.
While the district has accomplished a lot, like completing 11 projects this past year, there's still a long way to go. Rest assured, the district will continue to be prepared. Betty, how about that merit badge?
You'll have to ask the scouts about that. We'll be back with more on the Flood Channel right after this.
Seriously, the ref botched that call. He ruined the game.
I know, baby.
Babe, it's my bonus check. You know what this means.
I do know what this means. Oh my God, new wardrobe. I
Oh, come on, you know. We can buy flood insurance.
In Clark County, floods can strike at any time, and not just in flood zones. Flooding can cost thousands of dollars in damage, destroying your home and its contents. Do you have flood insurance?
Don't press your luck. Steer clear of floodwater.
The National Weather Service is in charge of issuing flash flood watches and warnings. Be prepared.
Floodwater is very dangerous. Do not play in or around floodwater or drainage channels. Be prepared.
What are multi-use facilities?
They're flood control detention basins and channels that, when it's not raining, can be great places to play, like parks and walking trails. Welcome back to the Flood Channel. The National Weather Service and the local media are important factors to keep you prepared when a severe storm strikes the valley. Carrie Ann brings us the story.
We're right in the middle of flash flood season when hours, minutes, and seconds can make a big difference in the safety of you and your family. It takes a team effort with the National Weather Service, the local media, and the flood district to make sure you're prepared if a flood emergency occurs.
In the desert, flash floods are probably the #1 threat to life and property, outside of perhaps excessive heat. And it's particularly dangerous here because so many people are moving into the valley year after year, and they're unaware that as little as 1.5 inches or 2 inches of water over a 30-minute period can sort of transform many areas of the valley from dry to raging torrents.
Well, I think what you get here in Las Vegas, and really the Southwest is known for this, are flash floods. And it's mainly because of the fact of your terrain and the way thunderstorms develop and propagate here in the American South and West. During the course of the afternoon, you get a lot of heating in the mountains. All you need is some monsoonal moisture, which flows up from the Gulf of California. And if the elements are correct, you can produce some pretty nice thunderstorms. They're not like thunderstorms are in the Midwest. They're not as strong. But they can produce rain, and you have to remember that in the valley, everything drains down into the valley. And we have a lot of slot canyons, and a lot of arroyos where that water will congregate and it will move in a hurry, and it's going to move downhill. And if you're in the way of that, you're in trouble.
Typically, it's about every 3 or 4 years that we'll see a significant flash flood event somewhere in the Las Vegas Valley. 1999 was a very serious flood. 2003 was another very serious flood. Those kinds of situations we can typically see 2 or 3 days in advance, and we will try to alert the media and the public with outlook statements and with statements on NOAA Weather Radio, and it'll go out through the Flood Control District and through the media. But that's sort of in that watch category. Conditions are favorable. We're fairly confident this is going to happen. Once you get down to the point where it's within the next few hours, it really has to begin to, you have to see some thunderstorms begin to develop before you can anticipate how they're going to evolve and move and what specific locations are going to be in danger of flooding. A watch means conditions are favorable for flash flood producing storms to form over a fairly broad area over the course of the next several hours. A warning means flash flooding is imminent or perhaps already occurring over a relatively small and focused area. Well, the number one mission of the National Weather Service is to provide timely, accurate warnings to the public and through our partners like Flood Control District and the media when the weather threatens life or property. But beyond that, 24/7 we have people here monitoring weather conditions and producing routine forecasts for the public, aviation, and many of our other partners. Two of our most important partnerships in Las Vegas